Hello everyone, it's Shel from Paper Rock TO Studio. I just wanted to let you guys know this video was recorded live and it is real time.
So the first step was to add texture. These things, they are the acrylic paint that accumulates in the top of a tube. And I just save these in a little bucket here on my desk because, I'm constantly, every time I open a tube of paint, I have to get this thing off, because then when you go to try to close the paint, it won't close because that thing is, it's there in the way. This one's from gesso, these are all different ones. So today I'm going to use these for texture. And this is just one idea. Sometimes people save the paint, that if they use a craft mat like this, they save paint piles that stick on there, and that would be called a skin, and sometimes they're very interesting shapes or whatever. So they're kind of fun, and I'm going to be using them for my texture today. So I have some heavy gel. This is a Liquitex matte gel. It's not a fluid, it's like a goop. It's goop because that's a technical term. Goop. And that's what I'm going to be using to attach. Hi, Roberta. Oh shoot, I just spilled them. See? When my hands go flying around, I just spill everything. Seriously bad. Probably half of them are on the floor, but I wasn't going to use them all anyway. So, here's goop. I'm going to goop onto here. And I'm going to give it a pretty good coat because I actually want another piece of paper underneath there so that I don't make too much of a mess. I'm going to give it a pretty good coat because I want these things to stick, and they're very dimensional. They're bumpy. Because that's the technical term for texture, is bumpy. So it's pretty goopy. You guys can see, pretty goopy. And then I'm just going to stick those into it. And I want some different sizes. I want some variation. So I'm going to start with the bigger ones down in the corner, or maybe a smaller one in the corner and then a bigger one. And taller ones, shorter ones. It doesn't matter the color because I'm going to change that. So I'm not concerned about that at the moment. Something just dinged. I don't know what the ding is. Hopefully it's nothing bad. It's the second time I've ever done Facebook Live, so if the ding is bad, I hope that, I don't know what to say about that. I hope that's going to be fine. That one's just like a little circle, kind of. It's kind of fun. Maybe I'll put a smaller one inside of it. And I'm not going to put them all over the whole thing. I'm just going to put them down in the corner because I have some other things I want to put on here. So when I finish it up. Let's see, one more small one. That one's kind of cool. Little teeny tiny one. Okay, so that's very textury. It's very bumpy. Put the rest of them back in there. Whoa. So I've still got way too much goop on there, and I'm gonna fix that. Is that the one I used? By blotting and pressing with the baby wipe. I want to make sure that everything is really firmly on there and pressed well in, and I don't want to get it all over my fingers, which is usually what happens. Huh. I'm trying to look at the comments too. I hope I'm not missing anything. Like I said before, if you guys didn't hear me, if anybody sees a comment that is a question and needs to be answered, please answer it for me because I don't have Peg today. She's off having a fun art class. So I don't have a moderator. Alright, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to dry this, and the weird thing about drying, I hope this is not too loud for everyone. The weird thing about drying is that these little acrylic things are plastic. And so they get a little bit soft because acrylic paint's just basically a plastic polymer. Hi, Dawn. I don't think I said hi to Linda. We got a pretty good crowd going on here. I'm glad you guys have all made it. So see how that teal one is like kind of bending? The edges of it are bending. So if you had one that you think is sticking up too much, you can kind of also press it down a little bit. The red one's curling a little bit. And of course I'm getting some extra texture from heat drying this, is making the acrylic gel matte medium bubble up as well. So I'm not going to dry it completely. I'm just going to dry it enough so that I can work. If I was not doing this live, I might let it sit and dry for a while. But I'm not going to do that right now. So I hope that wasn't too loud. You guys can let me know. Then if I have any edges on the back, I'm just going to trim them off because I don't want those on there. So acrylic is easy to cut because it's just like a lightweight plastic is all it is. So that is my texture. And we're done with step 1. Click. Step 2. Add something black or white. Well, I told you guys I was going to cover up the colors on this. I don't need all these bright colors. So I'm going to use this heavy white gesso. The heavy because I want it to really be able to cover quickly, but as you can see, my bottle is almost empty. This one is the one from Prima Art Basics, but other, you know, like Liquitex has a heavy gesso and Golden does. So I'm just going to use a nasty brush. A nasty brush being one that's cheap. And maybe it was even made for children. Because I want to get down in there and smush and rub and everything until every color there is covered. Perhaps I should have used a stiffer one because this one's kind of, you know, it's not as easy to get down in there as I thought it would be because it's kind of, it's flattening itself. See? It's kind of crazy. But I'm trying to get in the crevices and the crannies and whatever all you have to get this thing covering up these colors so that the whole card is white. And I'm also just going to let some of this gesso come on the other smooth part of my cardstock to add even a little bit more texture to that. Because this is going to be kind of, I guess the word to use would be grungy or old looking type of a project when I am finished. So I don't mind it having a little bit of texture from the gesso. And apparently my cheap brush is also losing hairs, but I don't really care about that because that just adds more texture, right? Get in there. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. What do you guys think? Looks okay. Well, no, there's a spot right there that just won't get anything in it. Don't want to completely lose my texture though when I put gesso down in there. That's kind of happening a little bit. It's getting down into the holes. So I'll try to get that out. Okay, I think I'm done. Dawn, it's these. Those little things that get in the top of your paint. That's what I glued on there. Because I'm weird. Okay, let's do some more drying. I don't know if you guys can hear me over the dryer or not. This one has some drying intensity for sure. There's several steps of things that I have to dry. But again, not going to dry it completely, just enough so that I can work. Let's see if I missed any comments. Roberta hates her lame paintbrush too. I have so many paintbrushes and I abuse them so badly that all the paint, I let them soak and then all the paint comes off the handles. I need plastic handle ones is what I need so that they can't swell up and make the paint peel. I should save all the paint from the handles of my brushes and then I could use that for texture, right? Paint chips from the brushes that I ruin. That would be awesome. I wonder if there's a 12-step program for brush abusers. Hi, I'm Shel. I ruined 3 more brushes today. Alright, is that dry enough? It's dry enough. Okay, so now that's what we have, kind of a bumpy looking white card. Okay, so that was to add something black or white, and I chose white. Next step, spray something. Well, I can do that. I can spray a lot of things. I do need to make spray guards though. It would be very interesting if suddenly my computer monitor had a bunch of spray on it. Could totally happen. Probably will, but I'll do my best. And these are just extra pieces of deli paper that I have lying around in my house, in my studio actually. I'm not in my studio, I am in my computer, at my computer desk, so. I generally film my videos on a phone, and because I do that, I can't really go live, because I don't have the type of camera to do that in my studio, so I do this on my computer desk by covering everything up. All right, I think I'm in pretty good shape. Okay, so these sprays are new. This is a German company called Marabu, and my friend Andrea Kidman told me about these sprays because we were discussing sprays that are water soluble and bleed through gesso, and you know what we're talking about. And she said, well, just get the Marabu ones. And so I tried to get the Marabu ones. Guess what? They weren't available in the United States, but you know what? They are now. All the Marabu products are everywhere now. So you can get these, and they're permanent. They're called mixed media sprays, and once they're dry, they're made out of an acrylic. So yeah, they're done. You can put, you can put stuff over the top, stuff, many layers, go back, add some more spray. It's great. So we're going to be using these today, and hopefully, because I did not bring anything in here, hopefully they are not clogged up. That is the one bane of my existence. Why do all the spray pumps clog up? Why? And why do they do it when I need to use it live? So we're going to start with this color called gray, and I'm just going to give this some good squirts. Yay, that one's not clogged up. And I'm trying to get it in and around everything. And what I do to make sure that they don't clog up, although it doesn't work 100%, is to take a wet baby wipe and just rub off that little hole on the sprayer and then put the lid back on. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and blot a little bit, but I do want that gray color to be down inside of the crevices of my texture. See, that's what I was going for, because that helps the texture be the thing that you see, is when everything is down in and around and under it. Ooh, I need to do destruction. I'm going to put a little bit more on just to get it down in there. Oh yeah, there it went to my computer screen. Whoops. Sorry about that, everyone. I'm gonna have to clean that later. Other people use my computer and they're gonna be like, why are there gray splatters all over the computer? It's gonna be real fun. Okay. All right, let's give that a little bit of, just a quick dry. We'll just do it real quick. Just to get those ones underneath and around where there's pools and puddles to be cleaned up. I need to speed this up. I'm going too slow. Too slow. Looks like Andrea joined us, but she has an L puppy. At least I think that's her puppy. All right. So then, that's pretty cool. We got some gray going on. But then we're also going to add some other colors because, you know, I'm a color girl. So we'll start with some nice orange. And I've also got somewhere a water sprayer that I can help this kind of spread out a little bit. This is just a mini mister. Put a little bit of orange down here. Whoops, way too much. Calm down. There we go. Got this that looks like red on the camera, I think, but it's actually a dark pink. It's called Flamingo. I'm gonna use that one right there. And the pink and the orange kind of make an interesting color too, which is fun. Make sure that we've got areas left. I've got some lavender, of course, gotta have a purple. Oh, didn't clean off the sprayer on that one. Gotta remember to do it or else I'll be doomed. I'll be doomed and I'll have to clean them. And then this one is aquamarine, which is kind of a turquoisey color. And that one kind of went over my orange a little bit on that edge, so I'm going to add a little bit more of that orange back in right there. Because I like it. It's nice and warm. So you can see I'm blotting each time and just trying to not let it be too crazy, but just crazy enough. A little bit more pink over here. So it looks fairly balanced, pretty grungy. And then I'm going to take another thing that I really like to do with sprayers. Doesn't matter whether it's these or other ones. I like to take them out and just tap, and it makes really great splatter. The best splatter is from these things. Oh, but it looks like I needed to dry it first because I'm getting, yep, need to dry it first. I'm getting puddles instead of splatters. So we'll do a quick dry here because it's noisy. I just don't want to do it for very long, but it just kind of required that I do this. See what people are talking about. Linda says to avoid clogging, I pump upside down in a baby wipe so you've got only air in the pump and then wipe off the top. Seems to help. That's good tips. We were talking about this the other day, Peg and I and Sherry and Lizzie. I think maybe Andrea was there too. And we were saying, my big plan was that I was just going to start, each time I used one, I was going to throw it into a tub. You know, I have like a tub left over from the hospital, one of those big gray tubs. I was gonna just start throwing my things in there, which I thought was a brilliant idea, except for once you take this thing out, it's open. And so I was looking for lids that I could put, you know, like a blank lid that I could put back on and then just keep the sprayers separate, which I thought was a really good idea, except for I couldn't find, all the sprayers are different sizes for one thing. And so I would have to get, and the lids, to get any kind of a decent deal, you'd have to buy like 250 of them, and it was a thing. So I decided not to do that after all. But if I left this thing sitting on my desk like this, you know what would happen. I would spill it. Absolutely, I would spill it. So it didn't end up working out as well as I thought, but I was excited when I had the idea. Another thing I like to do is to take the sprayer and go around the edges of things. I hope I'm staying in camera now. I feel like I'm not. I feel like I'm not letting my arms be out far enough to stay in camera. Oops, see, I just about spilled that. That's what would happen. You know what would happen. So, that is my spray something step, right? Just make sure everything is good, and we'll go ahead and dry that again. Welcome, Sherry. Hi, Dawn. Just reading the comments. So I'm pretty happy with this. I'm going to set it aside and work on some sort of a focal point. That was the one thing about the steps this time, is that we didn't really have one that had a focal point. You know what I'm saying? It's lovely hands. So happy with that. Gonna start with something that I'm going to put over the top. And I think that I'm going to make this one this direction instead of this direction this time. That's my plan. So it just so happened that the we got spray something. Yeah, we did that. So the wild card stick this month was to use a die cut, and I thought, why don't I just do all four? So I have this little die cut that is a bird, and then it has some embossed parts to it. So I'm going to use that as my focal point. So I'm just going to stick with the same, oh, why did I move that? Stick with the same colors that I used before, so I might as well just go ahead and stick with the same sprays, right? This one is getting a little weird. I think it's going to have to be cleaned. So I'm just going to start with the gray. And I don't want it splattering all over everything. Gosh darn it. There we go. That'll work. But I'm going to blot it off. I don't want it super dark. But I did want some gray down in there, because that's going to help show the texture. So I did a lot of blotting, as you can see. Maybe I got it too dark, actually. We'll see once it's dry. And this was cut out of the same 140-pound cold press watercolor paper. And then it has a die that cuts out the bird, and then it has a couple different pressure plates that are metal that make the indentation. So kind of a cool little die set. I got it at Tuesday morning for like $3.99 or something, and I can't tell you the brand because I don't remember. But there's my little birdie. And let's give him some decorations. That's what we need. So we'll start out with maybe the orange. And when I'm using these as a watercolor paint, I just take the thing and just tap it right there. Like that. I don't need very much. I don't need to spray. I've got some water to get a little bit of a wet brush, and then I'm just gonna use it to paint a few spots on here. Orange on his little feet, I think is a good idea. And I'm trying to get it to go like down into the embossed area so that it's dark in the embossed area is what my plan is. Get a little bit of this pink. And we'll maybe do that on his chest because a lot of birds have a red chest. I mean, maybe some of the cooler colors we'll do on his wings. A little bit of that aquamarine and lavender. All right. How about we paint this little indentation with the aquamarine. I seem to have a little bit of a resist on there for some reason. I don't know if it's the gray color resisting the other colors or not. Could be. And then we'll put a stripe of that on his tail. Maybe a little bit around his eyeball. Up in here would be good. And then some of the lavender can go right here. I didn't get very much lavender, did I? All right. Okay. Maybe not quite as neatly as I would have liked. But it's all good. And I've got some little bit of black on a Posca pen. So I just want his little eye to stand out a bit. And then a dot of white to make his eye come to life. Hopefully. So for when your white doesn't want to work. There we go. We might be done with that turn heat tool, maybe. Just one more little dot of black. There. Now he's got a very beady eye. See? Beady eye. Oh, I don't know. Is it not focusing? Well, anyway, you can trust me. He's got a beady eye. Okay, so now we're going to need to put that little guy onto the card. Before I do that, I think I'm going to give him a little bit more embellishment. I have this piece of gold. How did I manage to get so dirty? I don't know. It's just gold cardstock, just a scrap of metallic gold cardstock. And I'm going to make him a teeny tiny crown because I think that birdies look really cute. It must be from a story or something. I see birds with crowns like maybe a sparrow with a crown or something. Maybe a fairy tale. I don't know. But anyway, I think it's cute. So I'm going to do that. Just freeform cutting with a pair of sharp scissors to make a 3-pointed crown, which will go on my little bird. And I'm going to glue that on. With some Tombow Mono Multi. It's a good strong glue. Could have used tacky glue too, but so there's this little crown. And I'm going to give him some gems on his crown, because what's a crown without gems? Come on, that's not cool. So I've got purple, which I'm going to stick right in the middle. These are self-adhesive. At some point I might go back and, you know, they're not guaranteed just because they're self-adhesive to stay on there. Whoops, come here, little beastie. Put a little amber colored one. Another amber colored one. I seem to have something very messy on my piece of deli paper. Okay, so to stick him on, because I have all this texture over here, I am going to use some foam tape. And this is a gigantic roll, sometimes called carpet tape. Sometimes made by Scotch brand, but I don't know. This is an off-brand one, I guess. But it's cheap this way to have this gigantic thing that I've had forever. Probably had it for like 10 years or more. But it will be good for getting some dimension on my little guy. Then you just peel the backs off. I know you guys have all seen this before. I would fast forward through this part if I could, but this is live. There is no fast forwarding allowed. And I will just nestle him down here like he's standing on the stuff. And then I'm going to give him a little bit of shadow underneath by using some of this gray again. And a moist paintbrush. Everything's getting in my way. I'm going to mix that with a little bit of water and just kind of paint underneath a little bit and blend it out so that the bird is standing away from the background a little bit. Always helps when you're sticking something to something else to add a shadow, whether you do it with pencil or whatever, but since I've already used this spray, I'm just going to continue to use it. I think it was someone in our group posted an ATC the other day, might have been Kylie maybe, that said, and I thought this was such a great quote, a crown is just a hat that lets the rain in. And I thought that was so appropriate for our leadership that we have going on right now, and how self-important some of them are. And okay, my final step that's really going to make a difference here, that's really going to make this thing pop, is to use some Inca Gold. And this is my favorite color of it. It's called Old Silver, but to me it's gold. Looks gold, doesn't it? So all you do with this stuff, it's like a beeswax with a mica pigment in it. All you do is get some on your finger and then just start going over anything that's raised. And when you do that, it adds this highlight onto the raised stuff, and it just makes it stand out so much. And I'm going to do that over my little bird too. Whoops. Because it has some parts that are out and some parts that are in. And so it helps lighten up those out parts and really make him stand out from the background. I think I did this before I put the crown on. Because I don't want you guys thinking that I just invented this right now. I already made a plan for this one before I ever got on here, you know. It might be smart to do that if you're going to be live. Because things are bound to happen. Crazy things are bound to happen. Just want to get some on his face. So doesn't that make a huge difference? Just by adding that little bit of metallic. I didn't say pop. I did not. I did not, Andrea. It's going to make it pop. Wow, it really pops. I don't think I said it. I'll have to look back. Then the very last thing that I was going to add was a little saying. Now, I've been using a lot of the Tim Holtz chat stickers that come, you know, and this kind of looks like one. But I didn't have anything that was the right words. And so I just made my own. And all I did was to go into a publisher program or a word processing program, type the word, and then select white, and then make a box around, well, it was, you know, long strips. I made a whole sheet of stuff, all different types of stuff. And just make a box and fill the box with black. And then you have what looks like one of these little stickers that you can buy. So if you don't have those stickers and you want to use them, you can make your own. Or if the stickers that you have don't have the right words, you can make your own. So it says shine bright. Whoops, which I thought was appropriate for my little guy who has his crown on. Stick down, stick, stick, stick. And maybe you can just, you know, grunge that up a little bit with your gold stuff. So I think that is my last step, and I think that I will be done. What do you guys think? Focus, you silly thing, focus. So that's my ATC for this month. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you all for coming, and I think that's everything. All right, that's it. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.